Here are my Stormers player ratings for their game against the All Blacks. A really good performance from the Stormers. They showed heart, they showed character, and they showed some class rugby as well. Some very good individual performances. And if you haven't watched it yet, go watch the match reaction because I go over everything. I go over all my thoughts right after the final whistle. I was trying to kind of piece together what I was thinking about the game. But that being said, a really solid competitive performance from the Stormers. They showed up in a big way, and I really did not expect the Stormers to really show up and actually bring the game to the All Blacks, because especially after the first try for the All Blacks, I thought this is going to be a very long day for the Stormers. I feel bad for the people that bought tickets for this game. The complete opposite. The Stormers turned it around. Some of those players that have played for the Springboks before really put up their hand. I mean, Hachiva Diamani was great as well. Some of these guys that really are normally there for the Stormers, showing why they are such a good team and why they always make it to the semi-finals or the finals of the URC as well. They showed a lot of fight, they showed a lot of character, but they also played rugby in a way that I thought they didn't play rugby in a way where I feel like this game was a bit of a fluke for them. They played rugby in a way where they played to their fundamentals. They played rugby the right way, because a lot of these times in some of these games where the games are close, it's kind of like a fluke. It's like it's not really supposed to go that way. But the way the Stormers played, they 100% deserved for the game to be as close as it was. Now at the end of the game, the scoreboard wasn't that close, but I don't think the scoreboard really represents just how close this game really was. But let's get into it, into the player ratings. But before we do, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I really do appreciate all the support. We've just hit 3,500 subscribers. I think now we're trying to go for 5,000. We're trying to go for 10,000. We're trying to go for 100,000. And we've now changed the thumbnails again. We're trying to go back to basics so you guys can see every single time which video is mine. So thank you for all the feedback as well in the comments. All right, let's get right into it. Starting off with number 1, Vernon Matongo. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. Very good at scrum time, very good around the park, but I think out of the front rowers, he was probably the one that wasn't as dominant as the rest, but he still had a very good game. I mean, I've played against Vernon Matongo before. He's a very good player, very nice guy as well. I'm so glad that he's finally getting a bit more recognition, because this guy is a very special player. And the Stormers have some good props. I mean, Netlung Fashia, Vernon Matongo, and Tutoku Mchunu, Vilku Low, Zachary Porton. They've got a lot of depth at prop. And I think that's a very good thing going into the next season, because you need a lot of depth in these tournaments. It's not just the same starting lineup every single time. You need a full squad. And I think almost like the Premier League now for football, you need big squads, you need to rotate. And I think Vernon Matongo is going to get a lot more game time in a Stormers jersey as well. But moving on to number 2, Andre Igufenta. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. Early on in the game, I was thinking, oof, he's not having the best game right now. Got fended off by a scrum half. Didn't look that good physically. After that little fend where he got fended off by Cortez Ratma, he picked up his game to a different level. He was physical, he was dominant, he was explosive, he was athletic. I had no idea he was that fast either. He's skillful, and he showed that today. Really good performance from him, an 8 out of 10. And I definitely think Rassie would have been very impressed with that performance as well. Moving on to number 3, another Springbok player, Netlung Fashia. A guy that I have to be honest about. I haven't really rated him that highly before. I didn't rate him as a guy that I think could be starting for the Springboks or something like that. But I do see that he could be one of those outer squad guys that does come in, get some game time as well, and maybe can make his way towards the World Cup and play in some of those other games, those kind of games against the not so top teams in the world, the tier 2 teams. He definitely can do that. He was really good today. He pitched up against the All Blacks. He was good at scrum time, dominant, physical around the park, big tackles as well. An 8 out of 10 for Netlung Fashia. Moving on to the 2 locks there. For Andre Smith, I've gone for a 6 out of 10, and for Connor Evans, I've gone for an 8 out of 10. Connor Evans was one of my best players on the day. He really stepped it up today. He was there physically, and I've been looking out for a performance like this from Connor Evans for a while now. I think he battled an injury. I don't know, not too sure, but he's been a guy that a lot of people have spoken about for a long time. He's still not an old guy either. He's still a young guy there, and he really has so much potential. So it's good to see him against the All Blacks really show them he can be physically dominant at this level, and that he was. For Andre Smith, I've gone for a 6 out of 10 because I thought he was a lot more quiet than a guy like Connor Evans, but still he was physical, maybe a bit too aggressive at sometimes off the ball, but still not a bad performance from him. One of the quieter performances from the forward pack, but not a bad performance at all. Moving on to the loose forwards, Dion Fourie, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. Massive threat at the breakdown, massive threat over the ball, threw his body around today. The way he came off the field, he was bleeding, he was beat up. he can still play for the Springboks right now, and I think if they had enough injuries, he definitely will. He is a really good player, and he will honestly make a big impact for the Stormers this year in the URC and the Champions Cup as well. But moving on to number 7, Hachiva Diamani. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. The Stormers must be so thankful to have this guy back. I feel like when he left, the Stormers team itself just wasn't the same. He is so perfectly integrated into this team, the style they play. He integrates perfectly with the backs, with the forwards. Of course, he had the bad moment with the charge down kick, but he wasn't put in a very tough spot there. He was the one player from the Stormers that had the fight and the character to really work his way back, work that hard off the ball, and unfortunately the way that went wasn't the best for him, but I'm not going to deduct points to that. They were already behind, and that being said, he still had a phenomenal game for me. Beat defenders for fun, physically dominated people, very high IQ, very skillful player as well. Definitely one to keep your eye on, because he is a player I've always thought can be playing for the Springboks. Now, I'm not too sure how eligible he is for the Springboks, but that being said, an 8 out of 10 performance for Hachiva Diamani. He was brilliant. Also, please let me know if you guys agree or disagree down below in the comments. Let me know if you guys do disagree. Let me know why, and let me know what score you would give, because I've seen in the past people saying, oh, I disagree. Not saying why, not giving their reasoning why, or not saying their score as well. So let me know down below in the comments if you do disagree. If you agree as well, and I missed some things that you've maybe seen from some of these players, let me know down below in the comments. But number 8, Evan Roos, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. A solid performance for Evan Roos. He was physical, he was all over the park. A few handling errors, but still he has a very high work rate. He showed that for the Springboks as well this year. He is a very high work rate individual. He does that very hard, unseen hard work a lot of the time, and he's just getting better as a player every single week. So 7 out of 10 for Evan Roos. Number 9, not available unfortunately, because Imad Khan went off early. Very unfortunate that when a player does get injured without there being any contact involved, a non-contact injury, especially to the knee, you know more than likely it's not going to be good. I mean, I've seen this many times before. He was sobbing on the sideline as well. I really do feel bad for him, because he's a good player with a bright future. I think him and Yakin Ahmed could build a very nice combination there, but he'll rehab now. Luckily there's still a few months to the URC season. If he can get things right, maybe if this is a bad injury, he can be back by January, February, with still a lot of time left for the Stormers, but hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it's just a few weeks of rehabilitation. Very unfortunate that. But moving on to number 10, another young guy coming through, a young star, Yakin Ahmed. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. This guy's brilliant. This guy's built for senior level, and I cannot wait to see how this guy does for the Stormers this year. Where do you play him? Where do you play Sasha? Where do you play Damian Willems? So for me, you probably play Yakin Ahmed at 10, because he's kind of got the fundamentals right, kicks well out of hand, kicks well for the line. You play Sasha either at fullback or 12, and you play Willems either at fullback or 12. But either one of those guys can play all over. It's going to be very interesting, but he is such a good player. The composure to stick those balls high in the air, put them pinpoint on the man they want to put it on, the way he kicks for the line as well, and you can just see how nervous a guy is, or how ready they are for the occasion, especially in the 10 jersey, with how they kick for the line for a penalty. And he was spot on. He was kicking smoothly. He was kicking like there was nothing going on. This guy's in the form of his life, and I think he can only get better. So an 8 out of 10 for him. We're talking about the two wings now. Leolin Zas at number 11, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. And number 14, Siabelo Sanatla, I've gone for an 8 out of 10. Leolin Zas is physical. He's not going to get bullied. He's not going to get dominated. He's going to make a few line breaks, and he showed just that today. A 7 out of 10 performance, and he is a very key player in this team. But number 14, Siabelo Sanatla, I read another player ratings that gave him a low score, and I thought to myself, how could you give Siabelo Sanatla a low score? Yes, maybe he made a few mistakes, a mixed bag performance for some people, but for me, he was brilliant. He was all over, fighting with every inch he had. Every single time he had the ball, he fought for every extra centimeter. He was physical today, worked his way around the field, and I was watching him a few times. He was exploding off the line. He did not give up the entire time, and he deserved that try he scored as well, and it was a very good try. He is looking extremely good right now, and if you can play like that, it'll be him on the one wing and probably Cheslin Colby on the other wing, so that's going to be extremely exciting. But moving on to the centres, I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for both Jonathan Roche and Ruan Now. Don't get me wrong, I thought both of these guys were really good. Just compared to the other guys, I think they were maybe a bit more quiet, but I see a lot of good characteristics from Jonathan Roche, if that's even the right way to say his name. He was brilliant. At some parts of the game he was brilliant, but other parts maybe a bit quiet. Maybe Billy Proctor and Anton Leonard-Brown did get the better of them at times, but Jonathan Roche is physical, he's a good ball carrier. He reminds me a lot of a Damien Dealindi, which is not a bad thing either. But moving on to number 13, Ruan Now, 6 out of 10. Quiet performance. a decent performance. I can't really remember too many things from the game from him. So 6 out of 10, but still a solid player. I mean, none of the guys played bad today at all for the Stormers because they kept it close with the All Blacks and it went down to the wire, down to the last 10 minutes of the game. Number 15, Warwick Galant. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. He was good today. I like Warwick Galant. He was good today. Let me know what you think of Warwick Galant down below in the comments. But he can be very hot. He can be very cold. Today he was on the hotter side. He was pretty good today. Good offloads. And every single time, this is actually so funny to me. Every single time Warwick Galant dummied today, there was an All Blacks player that jumped in the air or fell for it. Every single time. There was no player on his outside. 4 players in front of him. He does a big dummy. All 4 of them looked the wrong way and he almost scored a try there. It was a penalty try, I think. So Warwick Galant showing his brains. He is such a good player and you could see what it meant, what the occasion meant to some of these guys today. It was a brilliant game. It was a brilliant spectacle. I cannot wait for the reverse tour of this where the Springboks go and play the Crusaders, the Hurricanes, the Highlanders, the Chiefs. I cannot wait for that as well. It's going to be absolutely awesome. But finally, last but not least, the replacements. Not a good impact by the bench for the Stormers. A good start by the starters. And I think that just comes down to the All Blacks really found their momentum at the end of the game. The replacements for the Stormers really didn't bring that same energy and same momentum that the starters did. So I've gone for a 5 out of 10. But you can't really blame them too much. I thought the bench for the All Blacks was really good today. Guys like Asafu Amua, Caleb Clark was good. The guys they brought on were really good for the All Blacks today. The guys in the front row as well. So there were some great players there from the All Blacks that came on. There were some great players from the Stormers. I thought Keke Marabe looked good when he came onto the field. Very physical. Glad he's back from his injury as well. Deval Divanaga was decent today. Some of the other guys were pretty solid as well, but overall not the best impact from the bench, so 5 out of 10. But those are my player ratings. Let me know down below, do you agree, do you disagree? Let me know what you thought of the game. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.